There's a strange quiet that comes after the storm, a silence that almost hums with what's been left unsaid. When the chaos ends, when the narcissist who once fed on control suddenly disappears, that stillness can feel deafening. And somewhere in that quiet, a question begins to stir. What are they thinking now? After the battles, the mind games, the endless tug-of-war, when the noise dies down and you've finally walked away, what still lingers in the shadows of their thoughts? Let me tell you something that might shake the ground beneath that question. The narcissist doesn't forget. They can't. Time doesn't erase you from their mind. Not because they cherish you, but because they couldn't conquer you. You became the one that slipped through their fingers, the one who saw behind the mask. And to a narcissist, that kind of truth is unforgettable. Inside them, there's a battle that never really ends. On one side, they want to erase every trace of you because admitting you mattered means surrendering to the truth that you had real power, emotional power, something they've always denied. But the other side of them, the side they'll never speak of, still feels haunted. Haunted not by your face or your name, but by what you represented. Freedom, authenticity, and light they could never dim. You became the mirror they couldn't shatter, a reflection that refused to lie. And no matter how far they run, that image still follows them. On the outside, they may seem to thrive. New faces, new admirers, new illusions, but behind it all is an echo chamber built on denial. A hollow kingdom of mirrors, where every reflection whispers the same truth. They lost something real. The narcissist rewrites stories like a desperate author rewriting failure into fiction. In their new version, they're always the hero or the wounded soul who tried their best. But your story, that ending broke their script. Because you didn't beg, you didn't plead, you simply walked away. You didn't collapse under their manipulation, you rose above it. And that calm, steady exit was a storm they never saw coming. So they spin their tale again. They tell themselves you were too emotional, too sensitive, too hard to handle. Anything to make sense of why they lost control. Yet deep down, beneath every self-justifying thought, they know the truth. They misjudged you. They thought you'd come back, that you'd explain yourself, that you'd play the same game again. But you didn't. And that silence you left behind is louder than all their words. You see, narcissists don't grieve people, they grieve access. They mourn the loss of control, not connection. What hurts them isn't that you're gone, but that your attention, your reactions, your admiration, even your pain are gone too. You were their supply, their mirror, their proof that they mattered. When you disappeared without feeding that need one last time, it left them spiraling in confusion. They tell themselves stories to survive it, but none of them hold for long. They wonder if you still think about them. They wonder if you ever look back, or if someone new now holds your laughter. They picture you smiling, unbothered, free, and that image cuts deeper than any confrontation ever could. Because that image proves their greatest fear, they didn't destroy you. And though they'll never admit it, they still remember. The way your eyes softened when you believed in them. The patience you offered even when you were breaking. The hope you carried that maybe they'd change. Those memories don't fade, they fester. Because now they know they'll never be loved like that again. Not by you, not by anyone else, not in that same way. Sometimes, in the quiet of night, they scroll through your old messages, check your pictures, or ask about you through others. They'll disguise it as curiosity, but it's really restlessness, the mind refusing to let go of what once fed it. And every glimpse of your peace, every sign that you've healed, pierces through their illusion a little more. It reminds them that they lost something they can't replace. Even new relationships can't silence that ache. The new supply eventually fades in comparison, not because they're unworthy, but because they aren't you. They don't react like you did, don't carry that same light, don't challenge the narcissist in ways that made them feel alive. Every difference becomes a reminder of the power they once had and can't regain. Let's be honest, you weren't perfect. But you were real. You gave your love, your care, your time, things that were genuine and rare. And the narcissist took that for granted. Now they live with the ghosts of what if? What if they'd listened? What if they'd changed? What if they hadn't been so proud? Those questions follow them like a shadow they can't escape. Their ego won't let them call it regret, but the bitterness seeps out through jealousy, through anger, through empty stares at people who remind them of you. And perhaps the most painful truth for them, the one that burns quietly behind all the denial, is that you didn't just survive. You grew. You turned the pain they caused into strength. You became what they could never destroy, a living testament that light can rise from the ruins of manipulation. Now they have to face a reality they never imagined. The one they once called fragile became unbreakable. The one they once tried to silence found a voice. The one they thought they owned walked away free. And that truth will echo in their silence forever, not as your curse, but as your victory. There's something sacred about the silence that follows your rising, the kind of stillness that unsettles the narcissist to their core. It isn't just your peace that rattles them, it's your power. Your growth tears down the illusion they once worshipped, that they were irreplaceable, that you'd forever spin around their orbit like a captive star. But that illusion has burned away. What stands now is you, centered, unshakable, radiant in your own gravity. You've built a life that doesn't whisper their name. You rose from the ashes they tried to bury you in, and every calm breath you take is a reminder that their grip was never as strong as they believed. You broke the pattern. You rewrote the ending. And now what stings them the most isn't your anger, it's your absence. They no longer have access to the person you've become, the one they were never worthy of. They'll act like it doesn't matter, wearing indifference like a mask. They'll pretend you were just a passing story. But that silence they sit in, it's haunted, because deep down, they know no one will ever replace you. No one will bring the honesty, the depth, the compassion you once gave so freely. That chapter, the one where you kept believing, forgiving, hoping, stands alone. It's carved in the stone of their memory, untouchable, irreplaceable. And even as they chase new faces and temporary highs, that memory lingers. It finds them in the quiet, in a song, a dream, a moment they can't control. It threads itself through their story, refusing to fade. Because even though you've forgotten the tone of their voice or the sound of their laughter, your voice still echoes in their mind. The words you spoke, the strength you showed, the boundaries you built. That echo doesn't exist because you need to be remembered. It exists because they can't forget. You became the reminder that, for one fleeting moment, they touched something real and let it slip away. You stopped counting days. You stopped measuring time by their shadow. But they still feel every passing second like a wound that won't close. Your silence isn't just emptiness to them. It's a presence that hums beneath the surface, a missing note that keeps replaying in the song of their restless mind. Time has been your healer, but for them, time has become the weight of what they destroyed. While you moved forward, they remained stuck in the ruins. You stopped looking back, they never stopped seeing you. You appear in their regrets, in their failures, in the relationships they can't sustain. They chase peace but find none, because the emptiness they created follows them wherever they go. When the crowd fades and the applause ends, the fog rolls in, and inside that fog, your image appears, not as a ghost, but as a symbol of everything they lost and can never reclaim. What they think of you now runs deeper than any mask they wear. In the moments when their facade cracks, they see you, clearly, painfully. They finally recognize the strength they once dismissed, the courage they never valued. They underestimated you. They thought you'd never walk away, never heal, never rise. But now, from the distance, the truth is undeniable. You didn't just survive, you transformed. And that realization humbles them. In their mind, you've grown larger than life, not because you sought revenge, but because your healing became a reflection of everything they feared within themselves. You became the mirror they couldn't look into. You showed them the truth they couldn't face. And though they'll never admit it, you remain unforgettable. They try to erase you, but your imprint is carved into their conscience. No lie or arrogance can hide it. It's written in the space where something genuine once lived, a scar shaped like your honesty, your love, your truth. The deepest truth they face now is this: they lost the one soul who could have given them something real. Not fleeting validation, not shallow praise, but a connection that reached the soul. You stood before them, offering light, asking only for sincerity in return. But they couldn't receive it, not because you weren't enough, but because they were empty. They rejected the very thing they longed for, not out of strength but out of fear. And that mischance haunts them. It follows them into every new attempt, every moment of quiet reflection. But that door is closed. That chapter is sealed. Because you've moved on, stronger, wiser, grounded in peace. You've learned to love yourself in ways they never could. You healed without revenge, without explanations, without seeking closure from the one who could never give it. And that's what pierces deepest. The truth that your life no longer revolves around them, that your joy no longer requires their ruin, that your peace exists beyond their reach. Your freedom is the wound they can't stop touching. Your healing is the evidence that their power was never real. And your silence, your beautiful, holy silence, is the loudest sermon they'll ever hear. So keep walking forward. Keep choosing yourself. Because your strength isn't measured by how you endured, it's measured by how you rebuilt. Your growth, your courage, your quiet persistence, that's your legacy now. What happened to you doesn't define you. What defines you is how you rose, how you transformed pain into purpose. Your healing, your boundaries, your clarity, they are your declaration to the world. I am no longer the wound. I am the awakening. You became the reflection the narcissist couldn't twist, the truth they couldn't bury. And even now, in your silence, in your stillness, in your peace, that truth echoes. It whispers through the universe that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it simply walks away, with grace in its steps, and never looks back.